Keisha Assivero, aka Special K, and I'm a senior accountant. Outside of my family, I would say I love music, interest. I have so many, it's hard to kind of narrow it down. I like writing inspirational writings, and my new interest of late is graphic designing. So I like playing around on the computer and trying to design stuff. And I think that's pretty much it for now. I'll say cheesecake. Something that is like, it's simple, but yet so complicated. And I could probably eat ton of it at a time. So yeah, cheesecake. My husband and I, Mikey Wisdom, have created Caribbean Flavor, which is the show we currently host on CHUO 89.1. Caribbean Flavor is probably about 24 years old. Yeah, it was my first co-host show being introduced to radio coming out of school. It's a Soca-based show that we focus a lot on new music, upcoming artists, interviews, and kind of what's going on in the Ottawa community. In the past, we had a show that we created on CKCU. This was like years ago. Have new ideas for stuff for the future, but yeah, this is where we're at right now. So Caribbean Flavor. Actually, I have to probably give credit to some of the older radio community hosts. When I was going to school, I was able to kind of got introduced to that world. I've always had an interest in radio, just growing up as a teenager. But when I came to school, some of my friends were people that were very big in the community radio, and just kind of develop a passion for it from there, and just learning how important community radio is, not just to our local community, but just as society in general. And because I love music, it also helps and kind of helps me to provide a voice that I didn't think I have. So it's kept my interest and piqued my interest continually. Being an accountant is demanding position to be in as well. But from the radio side, I wish I had more time, I think, to take part in more community events, or just from the radio as well, to have more sponsorships to be able to, let's say Toronto Carnival is coming up, and being able to go to Toronto and do a live show from there, so people who don't get to see Carnival can experience it, or go to carnivals in the Caribbean and be able to do live shows there and live interviews, because at the Carnival, you're gonna have a lot of artists. So be able to kind of do a lot of one-on-one interviews with artists and at different social events. Because it's community radio, it is volunteered. And so our time and resources are limited to what we can do. But I am hoping in the future that we'll be able to get a bit more sponsorship, that we can expand out a little bit and be able to bring the local events to the people or to our audience that is listening. So I think that for me is my biggest challenge, wanting to be able to expand a bit further and bring more diversity to the show as well. Because the Soca artists, they do so much in their community that it'll be nice to be able to showcase more that, but live where they are versus via phone interviews, for example. But we are limited because we are a community radio, but it doesn't mean it'll always be that way. We sleep, we wake up, we think about, soca music and its influences. So you never know. We may get someone says, hey, we can help you guys pay for your trip and go, to Carnival and help you guys figure out how to do a live to air. So you never know. The future is full of possibilities. I think it's probably in two parts. I think obligation, because it's probably two in one. It's obligation and fun because I love the music. And I think once I realize that I have a voice that people need to hear, it's interesting for me to be able to bring certain information to our listeners. Sometimes we'll talk about financial services or advocating for education, like just stuff in general that people want to talk about, but they're afraid to. So when we do certain interviews that cover certain issues, we help to provide a voice for people who don't think that they have a voice. So an obligation from that side, and fun. I just love music. I love music in general, and I'm a Jamaican, and sometimes my listeners are like, you're Jamaican, but you're playing soca music. How does that work? And I'm like, I love music. I love Caribbean. I love being Black. I love everything about my culture. And so for me, it's fun to be able to share that part of the culture, or when I go somewhere and somebody say, what is soca music? To be able to say, okay, where do I start? I don't know. I love what I do. So we always find fun in it. I would say for her to be fierce. Don't be afraid to try new things. Even if you fail, you keep trying until you succeed. And that not every great idea that someone is going to approve of, because we are sometimes limited in our thought process. And sometimes someone says something and they may discourage you. But if you have conviction in what you believe, go for it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. You do it and you prove them wrong. So don't be afraid to try until you succeed, and believe in yourself.
Thank you for watching. Please follow our social media and subscribe to our channel.